table setter this season, a .362 on base average for Skip. He scored 53 times. He takes strike one. He's made the nice transition and the difficult one from outfield to second base. Last night he had a hit, which was a double and a walk. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Redbirds have a 2-game lead over the Chicago Cubs as they take the field tonight. Bounce to the right side. Matsui to his left. Short toss to Coast. 1 out for Wandy Rodriguez. Matsui playing well defensively, as you indicated a few minutes ago.
And he just made a couple of errors. A fielding percentage of about 995, something like that. Moving around, showing a lot of range. Some real nice turns on double plays. Hey, that's how last night's game started.
Yes, it is.
That's a good sign if you believe in such things.
Nick Stavanoa was 0 for 3 last night. Miguel Tejada robbed him. The diving catch, spearing his line drive. There's strike one to Stavanoa. Went to high school at Jersey Village, then University of Houston. Curveball makes it 0-2. Stavanoa gets his second straight start in left field for the Redbirds. 27 years old. He was a 7th-round pick in '05. Nick had 57 major league at bats last year.
He's the big curveball. Big aggressive swing. Coming up empty.
1-2 with Albert Pujols waiting. Wandy shooting for win number 10. He's 7th in ERA, 2.81. Curveball is top. He's 8th in strikeouts. He has really had some big strikeout games this season.
Well, you know, when you think of big strikeout pitchers, you normally think of guys that throw 95, 97 miles an hour. That's not Wandy's game, but it's that swing and miss curveball that few possess. There aren't that many guys with a curveball as good as Wandy.
In the dirt that time, a swing and a miss by Stavanoa. Quintero throws to Coast to retire him on a strikeout from 2 to 3. 2 outs.
The hitters obviously have a difficult time picking up the spin on that curveball. We've seen a number of games where they just have not been able to make the adjustment. Continue to take that big aggressive hack. Here Stavanoa tries to check the swing. Bob Davidson thought he went far enough.
Well, there's always a stir in the crowd when Albert Pujols is announced in Houston. He's the batter. He leads the National League in many offensive departments,
including sleepless nights. He's scheduled to pitch the next day.
333, 34 bombs, 90 driven in, 457 on base hits. Fly ball to center. Michael Bourne waiting. A 1-2-3 first for Wandy Rodriguez, and the Astros come up against Wellemeyer in just a moment. Wellemeyer, the right-hander with Southwest Airlines, showing you Cecil Cooper's revised lineup card. Michael Bourne leads it off in center field. It's Kazuo Matsui at second base. Miguel Tejada batting third at shortstop. The cleanup man Carlos Lee had the big 3-run homer last night. He's in left field. Jeff Blum's at third base. Hunter Pence in right field. Chris Coast is at first base. Humberto Quintero, the catcher, batting eighth. Wandy Rodriguez in the ninth spot.
Todd Wellemeyer, 30 years old. Third season in a Cardinal uniform, and he's 7-7, but a high ERA, 5.56. He's struggled of late, and he's really pitching to keep his spot in the rotation here for the Redbirds next 2 or 3 starts. Very important for Wellemeyer.
Michael Bourne takes his first pitch. It's good for strike one to a 283 hitter with 3 homers, 26 runs batted in. Third baseman DeRosa in very close. Wellemeyer sinks it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Bourne was kept off base last night, going 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Wellemeyer missing, and from what we're hearing, he just has had difficulty finding that release point consistently, and has struggled with his command in recent games. One bites, punted hard to Pujols. 1 out.
Defensively, the Cardinals have Stabeno in left, Rasmus in center, Ryan Ludwig, the right fielder. He's got a nice arm out there. Infield has DeRosa at third, Ryan the shortstop, Schumacher, and Albert Pujols on the right side. Jason LaRue behind the dish. Yadier Molina gets the night off.
Kazuo Matsui was elevated to the number 2 spot in the revised lineup when Lance Berkman couldn't go tonight. There's strike one to Kazuo, 252, 3 homers, 22 runs batted in. He has multiple hit games in 4 of his last 6. Wellemeyer sinks it. He's become proficient at doing that. Pitching coach Dave Duncan stressing that approach in St. Louis. Wellemeyer was 13-9 last year.
He's still more of a fly ball pitcher than a ground ball guy. Fastball, slider, curve, and a straight change. Fastball, changeup. Mostly the left-handed hitters. Fastballs and sliders to the righties. Lefties hitting .345 against him. Too bad Puma's not available.
Bounce to shortstop. Brendan Ryan. 2 outs. Yeah, that does change things in the Houston offense without a Lance Berkman. Miguel Tejada takes over the number 3 spot in the order tonight. He had been second on the original lineup card. 324 for Miggy. 8 homers, 50 runs batted in. He leads the league in hits with 121.
Astros are without their big toe for a couple of nights. So it's going to have to rely on the rest of the digits to get it done.
Very fine numbers for an all-star player. For the second time as an Astro. And he takes a strike. Miggy was 1 for 4 and scored a run in last night's game. Led off that 3-run rally when Carlos Lee hit the home run with a single up the middle in the 4th. Slider away makes it a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The Cardinals swept a 3-game series in April in St. Louis from the Astros. The Astros had beaten St. Louis here at Minute Maid Park 4 times in a row going back to last year. It's 2 balls and a strike. La Russa's club will have a makeup game after this series at Washington. Just 1 game there and then 3 at Philadelphia on this road trip. Cardinals are 25-20 within the Central Division. Foul away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Their pitching really has been sustaining them recently. The offense has fallen off. They have a number of slumping hitters, but their ERA, the best team ERA in the majors in July, 2.57.
And nobody knows better than that man there that this game is all about 1 day at a time, but he's going to have some concerns with Wandy going tonight, Oswalt tomorrow, and then a series against the Phillies on the horizon.
Pujols backhands. Passes to Wellemeyer covering. Both pitchers have a 1-2-3 first.
Your ticket with our Price Matters Days presented by HEB. To help celebrate 10 seasons at Minute Maid Park, we've selected 10 games where you can score a ticket, a hot dog, chips, and a soda for just $10. The next Price Matters Day is tomorrow, so to purchase your tickets, just visit Astros.com, guys.
Thank you, Patty. It's Ryan Ludwig leading off the second inning of a scoreless game now. Ludwig takes in their strike one. Bob Davidson is calling the balls and strikes. Ludwig with 15 homers, 58 runs batted in, carries a .264 batting average. Hits a breaking ball and he hits a foul to the legs of Jose Oquendo.
Come on, Jose.
He never used to boot balls when he played.
No. Yeah, it's talking fundamentals now. You need to charge the ball, stay down, let the ball play him.
Ludwig swings late, and Wandy Rodriguez really ripped through him in 3 pitches for strikeout number 2.
You can tell when a pitcher has a lot of confidence, very aggressive, attacking the strike zone. That's a pretty good hitter. He just dispatched like,
yeah.
See you, pal.
He used him. Mark DeRosa had 2 hits last night, his first 2 hits as a Redbird. Ball 1 to DeRosa. Had 21 homers for the Cubs last year, driving in 87. Cardinals hope he can do some damage against the Cubs and other teams. 2-0, but shortly after he joined them, he strained a tendon in his left wrist. Had to miss a few games with that. Go on the DL, in fact. How's it back, and it's 2-1. DeRosa, the third baseman for now, and there are a lot of intriguing things about this first place Cardinal club right now. Who's going to be the third baseman a month from now? They have a couple of guys rehabbing in the minor leagues.
And Troy Glaus, Khalil Green, both down there rehabbing. Green, the guy they signed to play shortstop this winter, has had a lot of problems defensively and mentally. Put him on the DL with anxiety disorder, and they like him at third base better than short. Glaus, third base is his position, but he may play left field when he comes back. DeRosa can play third. DeRosa can play all over. It does seem a logjam of similar players.
3-2 now. DeRosa with 4 hits and 14 career at bats against Rodriguez. He rips one to left field. That is easily going to clear that left field wall and give the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. Mark DeRosa's first home run as a Redbird gives him the first run of this game. He hit 13 with the Cleveland Indians earlier this season.
A couple of hits last night for DeRosa, his first in a Redbird uniform, now first home run. And Wandy should have listened to Q and shook him off a couple of different times to get to that pitch. Ball was out, but up, and then gone.
Colby Rasmus goes for the first pitch and fouls it, strike one. 269 for the rookie outfielder, 11 homers, 34 runs batted in for Rasmus. Colby, 22 years old. He gets the curve and it snowballs, 2 strikes. Rasmus 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter last night against Jeff Fulcino. Astros bullpen nailed it down for Brian Moeller. It's 1-2, and the rotation will remain in order for the weekend series against the Mets. Mike Hampton Friday night, Russ Ortiz Saturday night, Brian Moeller on Sunday. It's an off day Thursday. That fly ball goes out of play. If the Mets stay with their current order, it'll be Johan Santana pitching Friday night for them here. He brings an 11-7 record and a 2.92 ERA to the mound. They have not announced him yet as their starter. They have a day off Thursday as well. Strike looking, and Rasmus is strikeout victim number 3. Jason LaRue comes up.
Quite a bounce back after giving up the long ball. That's the worst mustache yet. That one, that's barely there.
Well, Trevor Miller enlightened us about that. 241 for LaRue, 1 homer. There's strike 1. Jason was born in Houston, lives in Bulverde.
What did Trevor Miller say?
Trevor said not every Cardinal has grown a mustache. There are about 5 guys who have not followed along with the trend so far.
Well, last night I think we saw Chris Young, Duncan, Chris Duncan,
right.
And Phil Thurston, I think.
Thurston did not follow suit.
Rasmus has one, but it's a bit of a stretch.
Going undetected by some. 1 ball and 2 strikes to LaRue.
Boy, I love the pace Wandy's working with here. Just, hey, let's go, boys. Get it and go.
Shaving guys right there.
Duncan might have had a little something working there.
I think
last
he did.
shot. Yeah,
It's infancy.
So here, these 2 guys here, man, that is light.
2 balls, 2 strikes. LaRue takes a full count now, and Wellemeyer, the pitcher, on deck. LaRue came up with Cincinnati in '99. He was with Kansas City in '07 before joining the Cardinals last year.
Don't want to get too cute here with LaRue. He's got a little pop in his bat, but you got the pitcher on deck. You'd love to have him starting the next inning. It's a good down and away fastball.
Line drive to left. A hit for LaRue. Hit number 2 of the inning, and that'll bring up Wellemeyer, the pitcher.
They made the right pitch. You don't want to walk him there. You want to force him to hit his way on. Just as likely to hit that ball at somebody for an out as opposed to drop it in the left field for a knock. Good AB there by LaRue, working his way back, down 2 strikes, coming all the way back, getting the count full, and then a line drive single. Now Wellemeyer will bat, and in all likelihood, Cardinals will have Ryan leading off the next inning.
Wellemeyer carries a 121 average, 4 hits, 33 at bats. Congratulations to Chris and Heather Sampson. Birth of young Colt Parker. 7 pounds, 12 ounces early this morning.
Congratulations to CJ, too. Now he's got a little brother to hang with.
Yeah. Bounce to second. Matsui in. Ball stays down. He goes down with it. DeRosa's homer makes it 1-0 Redbirds after 1.5. Tonight's big blast. Carlos Lee drove in all the Houston runs with a 3-run homer in the 4th inning, hitting high off the wall. Homer number 14 of the year for El Caballo, and the Astros won it 3-2. They had only one hit after that 4th inning last night. And now as he comes up here, it's with a 6-game hitting streak. He's in the top 9 in hits in the National League with 106. Batting average .309. He has 14 homers, 53 runs batted in. Carlos has hit well against the Redbirds this season, and he's hit well in his career against Wellemeyer, 4 for 9 with a homer. Brendan Ryan is playing again on the outfield grass. He played there a few times last night. Strike 1 to lead. Blum and Pence to follow. Foul back, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Wellemeyer has 29 major league wins, 26 losses, a 4.63 ERA.
Originally drafted by the Cubs, made it to the big leagues with Chicago, team he grew up rooting for. Now he's playing for their bitter rival.
Yeah. Pitch flip foul. Wellemeyer was claimed on waivers by St. Louis in May of '07.
From the Kansas City Royals. He's got a good arm. He's throwing hard, but his command hasn't been there. He's gotten away with it so far. 3 hitters. There's a dandy of a changeup.
Yes. First strikeout for Wellemeyer.
Great arm action. It just puts it in a perfect spot down below the knees.
Jeff Blum in that number 5 spot again tonight. Has had a good month of July. .347, 12 runs batted in 14 games in July for Jeff. Takes that one for ball 1. Last night he was 0 for 3. .280 for the season for Jeff. 3 homers. Coming in Dodger Stadium Sunday. It's 2-0. Astros have scored 8 runs in 4 games against the Cardinals this year. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Now it's 3-0. Scoreboard said 2-1, but it's 3-0. You have your career numbers on Wellemeyer. And ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk after that great changeup lead. Wellemeyer faces Hunter Pence. Coming up later in our Dodge Grab Live feature, Pudge Rodriguez tells us his superstitions. Stay tuned for that. Asking one of the trainers about Pudge today. He took a shot on his left knee last night. He was down for a while. And as Patty Smith reported on Astros Live, Pudge said today before the game he's fine. One of the trainers said we never see him. He doesn't come in for treatment. He's an old school guy. Chris Coast on deck.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still the case or not, but it used to be you did not want to get the reputation of the guy who hung around the training room. Unless you're going in for a social visit.
Well, they don't have free donuts in there.
When you talk with, back in my day, it was Dave and Doc Ewell, and then Rex came along. It was one of those tags you didn't want to get hung with. And that guy's always in the training room.
Good stop by LaRue on that one in the dirt.
Conditioning obviously much more scientific now than it was years ago, and it's interesting how players will have trainers stretch them individually. That used to never go on.
Yeah. There's Lance on the bench, available with the grade 2 strain of his left calf, expected to miss 2 or 3 days. Whack to left center field. That's hit like a rocket. Hunter Pence, who had been slumping, rips one for home run number 12, giving him 41 runs batted in. That left here in a millisecond. 2-1 Astros.
That ball was not giving any indication of slowing down. or getting down as it left this ballpark. I mean, it stayed on a line. You talk about a bullet. Hanging slider. And as that thing passes over Caballito's out there in left center, heads up, boys. Don't get in the way of that one.
They were ducking for cover. That was a blast. Chris Coast takes strike one. Forget about the tail of the tape. What about the miles per hour on that screamer? Good grief, that left here hurt. Coast rolls over on that one, fouls it. It's 0-2.
Yeah, you know, we have the pleasure of watching BP and watching Hunter take batting practice. It is really impressive the show he puts on at BP.
Hanson Roy got a laugh out of something he said there. They put it up as a 394-footer. Mass there. LaRue still 0-2 to Coast. Coast has been going out to catch bullpens with the Astros starting pitchers throwing in between starts, but now he found himself with just a little notice starting this game at first base. 234, 2 homers, 8 runs batted in for Chris. Overall with the Phillies and Astros. 1 for 9 as an Astro. The Astros bench is certainly coming in for use right now. Matt Cada just rejoined the club. Darren Erstad going down with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, unfortunate for Ersty. He's so good defensively out there with Lance down. Would have been an opportunity for Darren to play a little more first base.
Yeah. Fly ball softly hit to shallow left. Stavanoa with the play. 2 outs. Humberto Quintero will follow. Q hit a home run over the weekend at Dodger Stadium, just to the right of center field. His first of the season. He has 10 runs batted in, carries a 241 batting average. He's at 270 in his last 22 games. Rodriguez who caught the last couple of games. Wandy Rodriguez is on deck. Strike one to Quintero. Meyer facing the Astros for the first time this season. He's 1-1 lifetime against them with a 3.58 ERA. His last win came July 2nd, beating the Giants with a good game. Brendan Ryan. Now, here's one of the quickest to leave home runs we have seen this season. Line drive, 2-run shot. Hunter Pence makes it 2-1 Houston.
at Astros Mets Saturday 6:05. First 10,000 fans receive a Los Astros cap courtesy of Wells Fargo. Tickets available at Astros.com. Come on out. Mets in town just once, and it happens this weekend.
It only happens once all season that the Mets and Astros meet right here in Houston. But you've been seeing some Mets and Astros baseball.
It happens every day on the baseball channel. Every time I turn it on, it's the '86 playoffs, and it just torments me. And I keep thinking it's going to change.
Brendan Ryan, 275.
I can't watch it. I always turn it off before it ends.
Well, at least you didn't have to worry about watching yourself giving up any shots at all because you didn't pitch, right?
That's right. I was supposed to start Game 5. We got rained out, so Nolan pitched. Quite capably, I might add.
It had to be a downer, though.
Yeah, it was a big-time downer. And then I was warming up in the bullpen in the 16-inning game.
What were your thoughts about that?
Oh, God, don't make me pitch. Don't call my name. No, I just remember my heart was pounding as I was warming up. I hadn't pitched out of the bullpen ever. But, you know, I would like the chance.
Sure.
But a lot of people have said to me over the years, they should have used you in that game. Well, that's not a fair criticism of Hal Lanier because I haven't pitched out of the pen all year.
Good curveball there to strike out Ryan.
The one thing I remember about the rain outage when we pulled away from Shea Stadium, the weather actually was quite nice.
Oh.
You know, it rained all day in New York, but we decided to cancel and the buses were rolling out and the sun comes out. And I still believe, so it was a Monday night, and Monday Night Football was on. And I still believe that Major League Baseball did not want to play that game up against Monday Night Football.
Strike to Schumacher, 0-2. Joe Patini, the bench coach of the Cardinals, was talking about Schumacher and how well he's adapted to second base. Joe said he was a shortstop, and he said Schumacher's made a better adjustment to second base than when I tried to move over there. And he didn't know until about 2 weeks before spring training that he was going to have this chance to play second. His dad was hitting him ground balls at home before he left for Florida to get him ready. Broken bat looper and in for a hit. Michael Bourne blocks it. Yeah, he might have hyperextended that left leg when he went for that.
It was ugly looking.
Looked like he jammed his left heel into the grass there.
See here, it's a sinking line drive, and he realizes he can't make a play on it, so he keeps his feet, knocks it down, and watch here at the last as he reaches for it. That left ankle turns a little bit.
Yep. Might have rolled over on the ankle. Yeah.
You're thinking ankle, you're thinking hammy, you're thinking groin, anything you see something ugly like that, but looks like he's okay.
Stavanoa puts one in the air to Hunter Pence and right. That's out number 2 for Wandy Rodriguez. And Albert Pujols will bat next. I'm just talking to some people in Astros uniforms. Is there any one way to get Albert Pujols out? No. There's not one big weakness you can exploit on him. Pujols hit a fly ball to center in the first.
Yeah, if there is, nobody has discovered it yet, that's for sure.
Ball 1 with Ludwig on deck.
You know, and I was talking earlier about the Cardinals and their lack of hitting against lefties. Albert not immune either. He's hitting, I mean, it's a good average, 287, but it's not as good as he is against right-handed pitching.
Well, he's 3 for 21 now against Wandy Rodriguez.
Yeah, ask Wandy. He would have been the guy to ask.
Yeah.
But not a question you want to deal with if you're the starting pitcher before the game.
No.
Hey, Wandy, why do you own Albert?
Snap throw to first. Schumacher diving back. It's 3-0 now to Albert.
He does have 11 home runs against lefties and a .736 slugging percentage. So we can throw that batting average stuff out the window.
Yeah.
441 on base.
Swinging 3-0. He pops it up to right field. How about that? For getting Albert Pujols. on a 3-0 count. And he's now 3 for 22 against Wandy Rodriguez, who leads it 2-1 in the third. Houston is brought to you by Geico, by the Ford F-150, by Reliant Energy, and by Southwest Airlines. Astros 2, Redbirds 1. Wandy Rodriguez looks at strike one from Todd Wellemeyer. Wandy has 1 hit and 35 at bats for an .029 average. He has 1 RBI. And on that fastball, he puts it out into foul ground for Mark DeRosa. And there's 1 out.
Yeah, it's interesting, the psyche of sports in general, but oh, here we go. Today is birthday number 60 for the Mad Hungarian, Al Hrabowski.
Didn't know that.
No.
He's an admiral in the Hungarian Navy, isn't he? We're still trying to think of any bodies of water in Hungary, but hopefully there are some.
Stole his cake. It didn't seem overly thrilled with the idea that he was turning 60. I say, maybe just a month older than Tom Watson. Look what he did.
Well, Dewey Robinson made him feel pretty bad last night. Hey, man, I was a big fan of you. Right? Thanks a lot, Dewey. Let's move on to another topic now. Dewey's a young man. Movement upstairs brings it into the zone for the home plate umpire, Bob Davidson. Michael Bourne is not so sure.
Yeah, just the body language of Michael will tell you it all right here. He thought that ball was up, maybe a little bit in.
Now a soft liner, and he gets his revenge with a hit to center field. We were talking last night about catchers and how they get involved with the pitcher. Jason LaRue had some body language after this hit.
What are you doing?
He just kind of smacked his mitt. You know, he was just as disappointed as Wellemeyer at that result. And now Bourne, a base stealer, leading the league with 34, is on for Matsui, grounded out to short. Wellemeyer with a move to first. The Cardinals very good at preventing stolen bases. They've allowed only 20 all season. Bourne has stolen 34. They've caught 15. They really work on stopping the running game.
Yadier Molina, the regular catcher, one of the best arms in baseball. I don't have the Ruse numbers. Yeah, it is caught stealing numbers.
We'll find them.
Strike. With Wellemeyer on the mound, there's been 3 steals, 1 caught so far this year. And of course, And when Michael Bourne is the guy on base, a lot of that stuff you just throw out the window. You just say, "Oh, you're Michael Bourne. You feel like you can get a jump? Go." You're a weapon.
He was thrown out 1 of 3. Fans are booing the Cardinals for repeated throws over the first. These two teams usually finish neck and neck in the Central. They tied for the division title in 2001. Houston won that one, winning the head-to-head series. And the Cardinals also went to the playoffs that year. Inside snap throw to first. Going back. 1-2. Both these catchers throwing to first in the early going.
That's a great time to do it when you get an inside fastball to a left-handed hitter. Just slide in behind him from the knees. LaRue. It's a good throw. Anything you can to tighten Michael Bourne's lead up. Make him a little cautious out there.
He's going. LaRue with a throw, bounces it, and safe at second base. Stolen base number 35 for Michael Bourne. The pitch was ball 2. Count 2-1 now.
Well, they worked really hard to try to keep him close. LaRue gets a pretty good throw off, just a little bit short, and as it bounces, Bourne slides under the tag of Brendan Ryan. There's the break. Good call.
Now 2-1 for Matsui with 1 down, and Tejada on deck. Rosa still in tight at third. All the way. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a list of just a few players since 1962 who have led the National League in both triples and steals. Michael Bourne's leading right now. Maury Wills did it in '62. Lou Brock in '68. Jimmy Rollins in '01. Jose Reyes in '05 and '06.
A little bit surprising if you think the skill set would, guys hit a lot of triples or speedsters would steal a lot of bases.
Yeah. All the way. A nice feather in Michael's cap. If he could finish the season leading in both those departments.
Of course, once you hit a triple, that's too many more bases you can steal in that at bat. Unless you're going to steal home.
Yeah. That's usually not done these days. Both these teams rank high in double play balls this year. Up the middle on a line. It's bouncing now to the second sacker. Schumacher throwing to first, and Bourne took a step toward third, but he held back. It's out number 2. Had to wait. First of all, that ball stayed in the air for a while to make sure it wouldn't be caught in the air.
And he made the right play. He couldn't afford to drift too far off the base with that floating line drive out there so close to second. Can't afford to get doubled off. Schumacher gets a lot on the throw, and he would have a long way to go to get to third base ahead of the throw from Pujols, and you don't want to make the third out of third base anyway.
Michael hoping Iggy Tejada can drive him home. Miguel grounded out to Albert Pujols with a pitcher covering in the first. Takes the slider for ball 1. Miggy was playing catch with his 7-year-old son before the game today. And I was asking him if his son played in organized ball. He said, yeah, he plays in Miami. But they had to move him up with the 9-year-olds. He was hitting the ball too hard.
Like Pudge, when Pudge was a kid. Wouldn't let him pitch anymore because all the kids were afraid. We had a couple guys like that in our little league. Did you? Oh, Danny Rive. Did not want to face Danny Rive. And then there was big Chris LeBrake. I mean, big, he was mean. Hit you in the ribs and steal your freeze pop after the game.
Well, I'd give him the freeze pop if he was going to do that. It's not worth getting plunked in the ribs.
It wasn't negotiable.
2 balls and a strike. Well, the Pirates and Brewers get after each other with a little hit batsman episode last night. Seems that some bad blood has developed between those two clubs.
Pirates finally beat them, didn't they?
Yeah. They lost 17 straight. And they finally beat him, but Jeff Karstens, who had hit Ryan Braun with a pitch way back in April, got drilled last night in an apparent retaliation. The bench is emptied on that. Foul pop. Pujols coming over. Fans will get one.
Ryan Braun is a very good player.
Yeah,
one of the best in all of baseball. But he's got some mannerisms that he's going to get his fair share.
Oh yeah.
Unless he changes his program a little bit. We've got a dandy going there now. He's zipping to 7th.
Well, it was reported last night. I didn't catch it at the time. Apparently, when he was drilled back in April, he said something about, that's all right. We have a long season. We have a lot of games remaining with these guys. And then he mentioned Bud Selig in that same sentence. I'm not sure what the context was, but that's it.
Really?
It's coming right out with it, letting everybody know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Up the middle into center field. Bourne will score on Tejada's single to make it 3-1. RBI number 51 for the Astros' new number 3 hitter.
Big 2-out knock there. And again, Tejada showing that great eye-hand coordination. Go out and get that pitch and just lace it right back through the middle of the diamond. Bourne with his speed could have scored running backwards.
Well, Texas four-dealers, league leaders tonight, shows you the numbers for Carlos Lee with the Astros. He's driven in 272 runs in 369 games while hitting .308 with 74 homers. Now he bats for the second time. He struck out in the second inning. Deep drive to right center field. Ludwig headed back toward the bullpen fence and makes the grab right there at 372 feet away. 1 run, 2 hits for the Astros, who leave a man, and they stretch their lead to 3-1 after 3. On a Tuesday night, after a very fine ball game last night, Wandy Rodriguez is on the mound with a 3-1 lead as the 4th inning begins. Glad to have you with us tonight on Fox Sports Houston. Ryan Ludwig, the batter, and he takes strike 1. He struck out in the second inning. Ludwig, an important man because he bats 4th behind Albert Pujols. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Pujols coming into this series had accounted for about 35% of the Cardinals' homers and about 23% of the runs batted in. ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Ryan Ludwig, a late bloomer, having that monster year last year. A lot of serious injury problems early in his career. In 7 months due to a stress fracture of a hip some years ago, quite a while ago, back in the early 2000s. He blew out a knee.
He has not taken a left-hander deep this year. Almost got clipped by that one on the thigh. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. But Wandy's been pitching inside effectively. Ripped toward the left field corner. Ludwig is hustling around first base. Carlos Lee firing. Ludwig will make it in with a double. His 11th of the year.
Now Ludwig heads up there, realizing it's a short left field wall. So usually when you whack the ball in the left field corner like this, it's an easy double. But it's 315 to the wall here in left, and Carlos gets over there in a hurry. Ludwig busting it hard out of the bounce and able to get into second base with a leadoff double. A hanging curveball there from Wandy. He hasn't thrown many of those in recent starts.
No, he certainly has not. Mark DeRosa ripped a home run on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd inning. For strike 1. Cardinals parting with 3 pitching prospects in the trade for DeRosa. Now Brewers 2-0 lead over the Pirates. They're at the end of 7 now. Braden Looper, the former Cardinal, pitching a shutout. Virgil Vasquez started for the Buccos. That Ian Snell situation is going to be something to watch. He doesn't want any part of the Pirates anymore, and they don't want any part of him. They've both been pretty public about that.
And I saw some comments from him today, though. He said, wait a minute, I never said I didn't want to go back to the big leagues and pitch for the Pirates. And I think he realizes, although he'd rather be with a different major league team, Pittsburgh is better than the AAA club.
Yeah. 1-2.
And I'm a little bit surprised, and maybe they had no choice, but I'm surprised that the Pirates have allowed that feud to become so public, because that kind of hurts their leverage as they try to deal him.
It really does. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Dusty Baker not mincing any words regarding Brandon Phillips' efforts either. See that one?
I did. Pretty surprising. His lack of hustle.
Well, he's called him out on it 2 or 3 different times, and I think there comes a point as a manager where you feel like you can't protect the player anymore. And you got to get after him a little bit publicly.
He did do that. Hunter Pence charges in right field, makes a running catch. Good read off the bat. The ball was not well hit, and he started in immediately. That's out number 1. Aflac has some trivia for us tonight. Last night it was about astronauts who have walked on the moon. Tonight, name the 4 managers to win Manager of the Year in both leagues.
I'd say Tony La Russa.
Okay, Sparky Anderson.
I'd say Sparky Anderson.
How about Jim Leland?
Probably, huh?
Okay, let's go with him. They're all active, we're told. Old Erasmus, the batter.
Did Joe Torre get Manager of the Year last year?
Boy.
Or Charlie Manuel?
Yeah, Charlie won the award.
Let's go with Joe Torre.
Okay. All right. That makes it easy. 1 ball, 1 strike. Colby Rasmus. Rick Ankiel was playing last night. Chris Duncan pinch hit. Rotating outfielders right now for the Redbirds. Rasmus pulls one on the ground. Diving play, Coast throwing from a knee. Very well done. For the 2nd out, Ludwig takes 3rd. Coast made some good plays in Los Angeles at first base.
Yeah, he hasn't played out there a whole bunch, but He's been on the play so far. Showing good range and a perfect throw. Sometimes that throw is actually easier to make when you're down there on your knees because you want to go from low to high. Make it easier for the pitcher to handle, get it up above the waist.
Jason LaRue singled to left earlier.
How about Lou Piniella?
Oh, yeah. There you go. We have too many. That's our usual strategy.
Let's take Torrey off the list.
Jason LaRue got his first major league hit against the Astros at Cincinnati in '99. Did a lot of catching, but the last few years he's been a backup. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jason. He's an outdoorsman. Living north of San Antonio, went to Dallas Baptist University. A lot of players love their winters in Texas. That one hit him. Waves the trainer back to the bench.
Backdoor breaking ball right on the toe.
Third hit batsman for Wandy Rodriguez. David Hayes, the coach at first. Well, the pitcher Wellemeyer bats. He grounded to second in the second inning. Strike 1 from Wandy Rodriguez. Batting the pitcher 8th has its merits and its demerits. Tony La Russa probably would rather have a more experienced RBI man at the plate right now. Quintero took a shot there.
Yeah, but I don't know if the hitter comes up, if a pitcher comes up to hit, batting 8th in situations like this more than he does when he bats 9th.
True.
It's just a crapshoot. I don't think it has anything to do with the capability of the pitcher. It's how he wants his lineup to turn over.
Yep. Just happened to work out this way this time.
Yeah.
In another inning, it might work out more favorably for him. Or if Wellemeyer does make the last out, he's got Ryan leading off the next inning, then Schumacher, then Stavinoa, then Pujols. And once that traffic when Pujols bats. Bounce slowly to the left side, charged by Tejada, and he throws him out. No runs are hit. Chris Post with a sparkling play helps the inning. He helps Wandy post to 0, 3-1 Astros. Of the year in both leagues. Affleck! Bobby Cox, Tony La Russa, Lou Piniella, Jim Leyland. We miss Bobby.
Coxey with Toronto earlier in his career.
La Russa very high on the all-time managerial win list. He passed Bobby Cox, I believe, last year. And he's a sure Hall of Famer, of course. So is Bobby Cox. At least most would think that. He's had 7 division titles in St. Louis. Was managed successfully in Oakland and with the Chicago White Sox prior to that. Todd Wellemeyer has struggled. He has the 10th highest ERA in Cardinal history for somebody who's made 18 starts in a season. 5.56 coming into this game. Jeff Blum walked on 4 pitches and rode home on the 2-run bomb by Hunter Pence in the 2nd inning.
Tony La Russa, 3rd all-time in managerial wins. Bobby Cox 4, Joe Torre 5. Connie Mack, number 1. John McGraw, number 2.
Rip foul. It snowballs, 2 strikes. Doug Brocail began his rehab work last night for Round Rock. He had a scoreless inning. Covered first base on the last play of the game, which is important because of his hamstring injury. Now back. He's supposed to pitch again tonight for the Round Rock Express. Then he goes to Double-A Corpus Christi on July 25th, 26th, 28th, and 30th. That's the schedule that's been laid out for Doug Brocail. Warner shoots it foul. 0-2. Aaron Boone is rejoining the Astros here on Thursday to begin his comeback from heart surgery, which was performed on March 27th. In tight, and it's 1-2. Well, as tight as this race might be in the month of September, it would be nice to get somebody like Aaron Boone back in uniform who could help. The nice thing about that situation is if he's able to come back, and he's made great progress so far, rosters could be expanded to 40 on September 1st.
That'd be great to have another veteran bat on the bench.
Bat took off. Strikeout for Wellemeyer, number 2.
Or a veteran player at third base for that matter.
Yeah.
Wellemeyer, another good changeup here. Been kind of inconsistent with his fastball. Fastball command has not been particularly sharp. He's done some real good changeups.
Over the fence, Pence.
Threw that hanging breaking ball to Hunter.
And went over the fence. Did it ever. Now cracked that liner by a diving Ryan. Hunter's 2 for 2, but the bat that hit the homer has just met an untimely death.
Maybe put the homer bat away. Maybe this was his single bat.
Maybe so.
This is a good slider here by Wellemeyer, and he gets it down off the end of the bat, and that's just strength there. A weaker man is out.
Chris Coast, the batter now. He hit a fly ball to left in the 2nd inning. Right-handed hitters are hitting .293 against Wellemeyer. Left-handers .345. Hunter's going. Line drive left field. Hunter's going to continue. And Hunter's going to be sent home by Dave Clark. Here's Stavanoa. Brendan Ryan still to the plate. He scores. 4-1, and Dave Clark did not hesitate. Hunter Pence was coming all the way.
Now once Hunter gets ahead of steam going, Clark, he probably figured, I can't stop him anyway. Might as well give him the green light. You see the hit and run play is on. And Hunter's speed, he's almost to second base as that ball gets down, and Dave Clark's got a good look at it as Stavanoa goes into the corner. A good send and a 4-1 lead.
Ryan's throw to the plate, a little bit offline, but wouldn't have been in time anyway. RBI double for Coast. His 10th double this year. It's RBI number 9. 4-1 lead, and Humberto Quintero's looking for more. Somebody will be saying something about Wally Pipp to Lance Berkman about now. Foul back for strike one. Coast filling in for Lance at first, collecting the RBI double. Tejada filling in for him in the number 3 spot in the order, has an RBI single. Now in that mentoring phase, it appears. Tried to stop, but he went around 0-2. Lance talked on the interview on the field tonight before the game when he was asked about his injury, about Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell, and how they played through all kinds of problems. And that has been instilled in a lot of the players who came up through the Astros clubhouse when they played here. Right, Quintero caught looking. He's just standing there at home plate. Strikeout number 3.
Yeah, ball looked like it might have been off the plate, but Monroe sitting off that outside corner, able to frame that pitch and get the call from Bob Davidson. Well, I think it's important for players to be willing to play when they're a little bit nicked up, and the key is knowing the difference between being nicked up and really hurt in a position where you could do further damage. You want to have that reputation of being a gamer going out there when you're not at your best, but if the performance suffers, it can hurt the club.
Strike to Wandy Rodriguez. Jack in the box standing. Show you the very tight race in the National League Central Division. Cardinals 2 ahead of the Cubs. Brewers and Astros tied for third, 3 back. Then it's the Reds 5.5 behind, and the Pirates are 8.5 in arrears. Foul back by Wandy. Folks down below us, somebody got a nice little souvenir to take home.
Nice play. Didn't even have to give up the cotton candy.
What that pink stuff was.
The Cubs. That gentleman right there made the play. Cubs and the Phillies 1-1, bottom of the 8th tonight in Philadelphia. Rich Harden for Chicago tonight. He may have gotten things straightened out. He had been struggling, but I believe last couple has been pretty good. Phillies have been red hot.
Milton Bradley has been benched to work on his left-handed hitting stroke. Not hitting much of anything. He's a left-handed hitter this year. Tapped up the line, and Alfonso Soriano's been batting 6th. Lou Piniella intends to keep him there. Soriano says he's fine with that. But now the Cubs are trying to decide who their new leadoff man is.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
Come on down in your striped top.
You're not giving it up. No, you cannot.
Up the left field line, Stavinoa over. Tremendous running catch. And Wandy had a bid for extra bases, but this time Stavinoa comes over and robs him. And the Astros settle for a run on 2 hits, leaving a man after 4. The Astros lead 4-1. brought to you by AT&T, by the MD Anderson Cancer Center, and by Dodge. A Berkman fan out there watching the Astros lead the Cardinals 4-1 after 4. 5 hits for Houston, 4 for St. Louis. No errors in the game. And a spirited crowd last night. Watched a well-paced ball game. The Astros won that one 3-2. Ryan Moeller the winner. Jose Valverde got the save, beating Kyle Loesch, who pitched well. Brendan Ryan, the number 9 hitter, leads it off here in the 5th inning. He struck out earlier. Looks at strike 1 there. The Nationals have shut out the Mets 4-0 in Washington. John Lannon, complete Game 7 hitter.
He was a New York boy. Grew up on Long Island, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
I think he had a dandy against the Yankees earlier this year.
You are correct, sir. He's 7-7.
He's a designated anti-New York guy.
Oliver Perez was the loser. He's 2-3. Gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. Mets are really struggling.
Yeah, I'm looking at the box score of that game, and just weird to look at the Mets lineup and not see Beltran and Reyes and Delgado. They got guys like Alex Cora and Omar Santos.
Bounce to second. Charging Matsui. 1 out, and now it's Patty Smith.
All right, guys. Well, I am up here in the suite with 2 guys, BJ and Jake, and they had a very special day today. They were down on the field taking batting practice because they won that in the auction, the Fox Sports Houston and Astros in action auction. That's hard to say. Easy for me to say. Last month, you guys are progressive fans of the game. And just tell us about the great time you had down there today. I know you got a batting lesson with Sean Berry.
We have had an absolute wonderful time tonight. My family, my friends, some business colleagues here. The Houston Astros have just extended to us beyond and exceeded our expectations.
And Jake, you did a pretty awesome job down there. Sean told me afterwards that he was pretty impressed. We're looking at some of the video right now. You went deep 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's the greatest time I've ever had in my life. It's a great experience, and maybe it'll take me somewhere, but who knows.
And the great thing about that auction, there were so many great, really fantasy, once-in-a-lifetime packages that were being offered. You guys got your fantasy, but can you really talk about how nice it was also to be able to not only do this and have fun, but to contribute to such a great cause?
Absolutely. It's just been a pleasure to be a part of it, to participate, and just make our dreams come true.
All right, well, we will see you at the auction next year. You guys are our progressive fans of the game. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Nice opposite field approach. Now a deep drive to left field, and in the corner, it's Carlos Lee. And Skip Schumacher hits into out number 2. Stavanoa made a nice sliding catch on Rodriguez. Now Carlos goes over there.
Anything you can do, I can do better, or at least can do anyway. I guess we couldn't make the claim that play was better than Stavanoa's.
No, but still, it's a nice out number 2 for Wandy. And now Stavanoa, who was struck out and hit the fly ball to right, comes up. Jimmy Rollins hit a leadoff homer in the 3rd inning for the Phillies. And they're tied still 1-1 in the 8th for the Cubs. Popped up for Chris Coast in foul ground. And Wandy is coasting through the 5th. 4-1 Astros. Houston leads St. Louis 4-1. Michael Bourne is first up in the home fifth inning. Singled in 2 trips, stolen a base, scored a run tonight. There's a bunt, and here's LaRue pouncing on it and throwing it into right field. Bourne will not be able to advance. LaRue appeared to have things under control, but might not have had possession of the ball when he snapped off that throw wide of first base.
A difficult play here for a catcher. Has to play it like a third baseman, charging hard, not time to set his feet. And it also looked like he stumbled a little bit as he got ready to make that throw off balance. He never really had the handle on it. Would have been a bang banger anyway.
Yep. Ruled a hit. He almost did a face plant. 25 infield hits, 10 bunt hits now for Michael Bourne. Matsui, the batter, 0 for 2. Strike one to him. He's hit the ball on the ground both times. Michael stole a base in the third.
Bourne's speed. Hopefully he can work his way around the bases. Still relatively early in this game, but you've got a 4-1 lead already. So I'm thinking about just trying to pad that lead. I don't think it's a straight sacrifice situation for Matsui. It's still too early for that. Certainly the stolen base, maybe a little hit and run. Try to bunt for a hit.
True. Astros can be aggressive here with a 3-run lead. They'd love to play for a big inning here at the top of the order. Snap throw to first. Bourne dives back. Pitch for strike 2, and it's 0-2 now.
Continue to work hard, trying to keep Michael close. LaRue ain't able to get him on the bunt, so he figures he'll take a shot at him after the pitch.
He's thrown to first several times.
It's not a quick release from back there.
Yadier Molina's picked off 6 at first base this year. Wellmeyer throws it away, and Bourne might be able to make third on this. He's going to make it easily to third base. 2-base throwing error by the pitcher, Wellmeyer.
Now earlier, the last time Michael was on, Wellmeyer went over there a number of times and really throwing the ball hard. And you almost never see a right-handed pitcher pick off a base stealer, a base runner. Tried to throw that one about 100 miles an hour, short hop Pujols. Although Albert should have at least gotten a little leather on that one.
Yeah. First error by Wellmeyer. Infielders creep in. Another run in further at second and short. Everybody uptight except for Pujols. Another foul ball and cleared crumpling on it. Wow. Right knee.
Yeah, inside of his right knee. We've seen hitters foul balls off their feet, their shins. Rarely do you see one that high up on the leg.
This has just been a brutal stretch for the Astros players. Hamstring injuries, foul balls off their legs, catchers getting foul balls hit off them. Oh.
Yoshi, the interpreter, up on the top step for the dugout. He's at the ready in case they need him.
Yeah.
Yoshi.
Part of Matsui's game, of course, is his mobility. That athletic trainer Nate Lucero talking with him along with Cecil Cooper. Meanwhile, somewhere up the tunnel, probably somebody's getting loose. Jeff Keppinger, Matt Cada could come in.
He went down like he'd been shot, and there's why. Fouled directly off the inside of his knee. And you know how tender that is in there.
Yeah.
Maybe even off the kneecap itself. That bone right there. My goodness. hurts like crazy. And maybe but sometimes you get over that initial shock of the pain, just take some time and work it a little bit and loosen it up and stay in the game. But right now he's very, very wobbly.
Jeff Keppinger just headed up the tunnel.
While Kaz continues to work on things out there, let's check in with our Geico quote. It comes from Hall of Famer Rogers Hornsby, who once said, "I don't play golf. When I hit the ball, I want someone else to go chase it."
Well, he certainly found that to happen.
400 hitter. And he also didn't go to movies. That would be bad for his eyes.
Yeah, back in those days. Matsui is coming. No, not coming out. Keppinger was out there in the on-deck circle ready to take over. Matsui shoos him back to the bench.
Keppinger fired up here. I wanted that 0-2 at bat.
It wouldn't be his out if he made it, right? So
playing with house money.
It's a free at bat. If he gets a hit, it's his, but if he makes an out, it belongs to Matsui. No balls, 2 strikes. Infielders running up close again. Matsui rips one foul.
Yeah, certainly it's a situation where they're going to play the infield in, so there's no surprise element for the infielders moving in here. If anything, it's just disconcerting for the hitter. I'm sure that's why La Russa has his infielders do it. I used to see a lot of teams do this, but not so much anymore. And how close you come depends on the speed of the man at third base. So Bourne down there at third, you see that they're way in. If you got a slow-footed guy, you can kind of come about halfway and still feel like you got a real shot at him. So it's the speed of the runner and your arm strength that will dictate where you position yourself.
Very good point. Ollemeyer's throwing a couple of change-ups here. Now it's a 2-2 count with Josh Kinney warming up for the Cardinals. Ollemeyer was 1-3 in June with a 6.89 ERA. His first start in July, a good one. He beat the Giants, 7 1/3 innings, 2 runs. Then against Milwaukee, 4 innings, 4 runs. Last time out, he pitched in relief at Chicago, July 12th, 1/3 of an inning, giving up 3 unearned runs, walking 2.
I'm sure Dave Clark told Michael Bourne down there, "Hey, make sure the ball gets through. There's nobody out. No sense gambling here on a ground ball."
Ollemeyer gets a strikeout. Number 4.
Now Dave Clark will go over and have a chat with Michael Bourne, and it'll be more along the lines of, okay, let's read it off the bat. It's a good secondary lead. If you think you can make it, go. With 1 out, and be a little bit more aggressive. Again, the Cardinals middle infielders start back. I got to believe they'll crash in again. That's a tough AB there.
Oh,
whack one off your knee and then punch out with a man on third, nobody out.
They get some ice on that knee. Tejada came up with a 2-out RBI single in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. Infielders in close. Chase that one for strike 1. I think he's hitting .304 with men in scoring position.
Hitters up there focusing on the pitcher. Those infielders moving, it can be a distraction. Kind of like a quarterback when he's getting ready for the snap and he sees those safeties come up like they're going to blitz.
Peyton Manning is really good at handling that, though.
Time for our new feature. It's batting stance guy. Whose swing is he imitating here? It's a former Cardinal. We can't tell you. We can't help anybody, can we? Oh, yeah. That's good, batting stance guy. Log on to Fox Sports Houston's Twitter page and make your guess. Greg Lucas will have the answer on Astros Live after the game.
Oh, Tejada going for a couple of pitches out of the zone here. That's no balls, 2 strikes.
I think the infielders are really creating a problem for Miggy here.
Do you have a clue on that, Cardinal?
Well, former Cardinal, originally was a New York Yankee farmhand. Won a batting title. Kevin Bash used to do a very good imitation of him.
Yeah. Okay. Shot into right field. 5-1 Astros. Tejada got a pitch he liked, and this time he made solid contact. Second RBI single of the night. 52 runs batted in this year for Tejada. Looked like Wellmeyer had him right where he wanted him.
He just didn't make a pitch. Hung a slider over the plate. That's been the story of Wellmeyer's season. Just inconsistent. That bad slider earlier, and Hunter Pence knocked it out of here. Now a hanger that stays up.
Michael Bourne home with run number 5. And now Tony La Russa's coming out. He's had Kinney warming up. The Astros have been building a picket fence after they got 2 runs in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 1 in the fifth, and that's enough to make this change. La Russa wants relief help coming in here in the 5th inning. Todd Wellemeyer leaving. It's 5-1 Astros. We'll give you the Pontiac starting line on Todd Wellemeyer. 4 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, and of course he's responsible for that runner at first base. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Get the Pontiac you want before they're gone. 5-1 Houston. Back in a moment.
Get up to close to 50% off. Yeah, that's a sweetheart of a deal. We can customize a package to fit every group, every budget. Call our group sales office at 1-800-ASTROS-2 or log on to Astros.com and bring your group out to the ball game. Co-workers, church group, little league team. I don't know. People in your neighborhood that you like. If there's any left. With this heat, people get a little testy.
Yeah, they do, but it's cool here, so that'll keep you calm. That's a good idea. A lot of good baseball remaining this summer. Josh Kenny's 1-0 and a 7.36 ERA for Josh Kenny.
Josh Kenny, 13 games at the big league level this year. Obviously, he's had some struggles. Last year worked 7 times for the Redbirds, 21 times in 2006.
Gets to face Carlos Lee. 0 for 2. Strike 1. Kenny picked up his first major league win June 27th against the Twins. It was recalled from Memphis June 18th.
Been up and down. Started the year with Cardinals, sent down, then recalled. Originally signed in 2001 out of the Independent Frontier League.
He was with River City that year. Two balls and a strike. See where River City was?
I thought it was a fictional town. Music Man.
It was.
He played on a fictional team? It's a virtual team he was on? He's just at home making up some stats, and he's sending around all the major league clubs. Look, I tore it up at River City.
There's my resume.
You might want to give me a shot.
There are my stats.
And he showed up throwing that sinker, and they said, yeah, we'll sign you.
Yeah. It's not fictional. Good pitch for him.
You see that ball down around the knees, you might as well lay off, because it's dive bombing.
He was in 7 games last year for the Redbirds.
Quincy College and Coudersport, Pennsylvania.
Tommy John surgery in 07. Faced the Astros 5 times in 06. No decisions. 2.84 ERA that year against Houston. Tejada takes off. Good jump. Swing and a miss by El Caballo for a strikeout. Steal of second for Tejada, number 7 of the year. 2 outs.
Mickey's feeling pretty fresh after the All-Star break, even though he had to go work.
He's supposed to be worn out.
Well, that was a let's stay out of the double play. Stolen base there.
That is stolen base number 3 of the year for Tejada. Number 7. Jeff Blum. Strike 1. Good turbo sinker there. Blummer walked and rode home on the 2-run Hunter Pence bomb in the 2nd inning. Struck out in the 4th. Cardinal bullpen has 11 wins and 8 losses. Trevor Miller's really having a nice year for them. That's a sharp breaking ball, and that makes it 0-2 for Josh Kinney.
Showed the good sink on the fastball. Now, tight little slider.
Good looking pitch. Ryan Franklin's having an excellent year as the Cardinal closer. 22 of 23 in saves. Pulled foul. Jason Michaels low bridged on that one. And jumped on that fan.
Yeah, he got back pretty good, I think. Well, the bullpen was a real issue for the Cardinals early when we were in there in April. They had Jason Mott serving as their closer, and he coughed up a couple save opportunities, and there's much anguish in St. Louis. What's going to happen in the bullpen? And Ryan Franklin stepped right in. He's been outstanding, made the All-Star team, calmed everybody down.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Jeff Blum, a key man here, batting 5th as he has been the last several games. And the Astros that switch hitter right after Carlos Lee in the order and in front of Hunter Pence.
Oh, he did check.
Oh, we thought he checked, but
no arguments from Jeff.
well, then that's strikeout number 2 for Kinney. Astros come away with 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 left. They lead at 5-1. Live feature. What are Pudge Rodriguez's superstitions?
The one that I can tell you is every time I come from batting practice, I put my uniform right away. You know, when I come in from, from batting practice to get ready for the game. Probably you're going to see me there. I'm going to be already with my uniform walking probably, I don't know, maybe an hour before the game.
Albert Pujols looks at strike one. 5-1 Astros. He leads off the sixth inning. He's 0 for 2. 2 fly ball outs. Another fly ball. Way up there. And the Raptors for Jeff Blum. Somehow it didn't hit anything. And it's out number 1. How did that not draw a steal?
I don't know. It just missed. Just a little bit inside the girder. That's a tough one. You got to look up for so long and get a crick in your neck.
Way up there. He had to pick it out. Pujols 0 for 3. And it's Ludwig now. Ludwig doubled to left in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2. Strike one to Ludwig. Let's look at Jeff Blum.
It's Babe Ruth.
Michael Jordan of the Houston Astros. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yankees lead the Orioles 6-4. They're in the bottom of the 6th at Yankee Stadium. Yankees brought Sergio Mitre out of mothballs to pitch that one. P.J. Walters is warming up for the Redbirds. And he's had an opportunity to start a little bit for St. Louis this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's Walters. Robinson Cano hit a 14th home run of the year for the Yankees, a 2-run shot.
Yankees and Red Sox tied now. Play began tonight.
Yeah.
The Red Sox have lost 3 or 4 in a row. Yankees have been playing pretty well, so dead even coming into play. 55 and 37. Good races all around the major leagues. I know West not so much, but everywhere else.
Well, Colorado just moved ahead of the Giants in the wild card league. Strikeout number 5.
And the Phillies with a pretty comfortable lead in the East too. 6.5 games over Atlanta. But Braves have been playing well. They just haven't been able to gain ground because the Phillies have been red hot. Phillies winners of 9 in a row.
Mark DeRosa's the batter. There's strike one to him. He homered in the 2nd and fly to right. This one to right center. Michael Bourne calling. Wandy has another quick inning. And in the middle of the 6th, it's 5-1 Astros. it's going to be a good one tonight. There's a home run swing from Hunter Pence, a line drive, 2-run shot. Coors Light freeze can brought to you by Ross Brewed Coors Light. Number 12 of the year for Hunter.
We should time that from bat to leaving the yard.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. PJ Walters now for the Redbirds, working for the 8th time. No wins or losses, a 771 earned run average. From AAA Memphis.
24 years old from Dothan, Alabama. Ball 1 to Hunter Pence. Josh Kinney went 2/3 of an inning, allowing no hits, no runs, with no walks, striking out 2. Hunter's 2 for 2. He had a broken bat, line drive, single to left in the 4th, and scored Chris Coast double. 1 ball, 1 strike. PJ Walters, non-roster invitee to spring training this year, 11th round pick in 06 by the Redbirds.
Straight from the Cardinal media notes, the random PJ Walters factoid. First Cardinal to debut in a start at Chicago since Andy Rincon in 1980.
Andy Rincon. Walters toss to the Pujols.
Hey, use your glove.
Mercedes E-Class attention assist of the game. Showing you Wandy Rodriguez getting a ground ball and then covering first. Chris Coast with the assist.
It's from the knees. Good upward angle. He delivers that ball out in front of Wandy. That was practiced ad nauseum in spring training.
Chris Coast delivered a double to score Hunter Pence in the 4th. Fly ball goes to shallow right. Schumacher looking out at Ludwig. 2 outs.
The Hunter Pence home run from bat to leaving the ballpark was 3.23 wave. Is that what you said? 3 2/3.
Alberto Quintero 0 for 2. Ground out and strikeout looking.
The average home run takes 3.97 seconds to leave the ballpark.
Oh, you're quick with that. It had to feel good.
Do you read the couch slouch? Norman Chad,
yes.
That's a column in the Chronicle. He was taking on baseball for all the goofy statistics that would cram down people's throats.
He had a point. He really did. No balls, 2 strikes. There are lots of numbers in baseball.
What's that? What's the old Vin Scully quote? Well, talk about that later.
Brendan Ryan, a good strong throw against Quintero. After 6, 5-1 Astros. Brought to you by Chevrolet, by GMC Truck, And by Southwest Airlines. At nightfall, Wandy Rodriguez and the Astros have built a 5-1 lead over the Cardinals through 6. Todd Wellemeyer went 4 1/3, allowing 7 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, walking 1, fanning 4. Lance Berkman's fan there. Dennis Reyes is warming up for the Cardinals. Lance Berkman has been unable to play and is expected to miss the next 2 to 3 days with the left calf strain. Good numbers for Wandy Rodriguez tonight. No walks, 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better 1-2 punch in the league right now than Oswalt and Wandy. I mean, the way they're going. It's going to happen between now and the end of the year, but these two guys both pitching dominant baseball. Cardinals can make a claim with Wainwright and Chris Carpenter.
Carpenter goes tomorrow night against Oswalt. Dandy matchup at 7:05. Wandy 4-0 in his last 5 starts with a 1.54 ERA. 1-2. He's 2-7 lifetime against the Cardinals. That's the most losses he has against one team in the majors. 2-2. Trying to become a 10-game winner. He's been stuck on 9 wins the last few years.
10's a career best for him.
3 straight seasons with 9. But the ERAs have been coming down. In 06, 5.64. In 07, 4.58. In 08, 3.54. Coming into this game, 2.81.
Well, you know, generally you think of a pitcher being in their prime from, say, 25 or 6 to 32-ish. You say left-handers sometimes take longer. Wandy certainly has hit his stride here. How long he's able to sustain it remains to be seen, but I would suspect he's going to be a pretty solid major league pitcher for the next 2 or 3 years at least, barring injury.
A win tonight would make his career record 47-46. He hasn't been over the 500 mark for his career since he was 19-18, September 1st of 06. 3-2 to Rasmus. Grounded foul. Cubs and Phillies have played 10. They're tied 1-1. 10th pitch coming in this confrontation. Detroit 9, Seattle 7. They're in the bottom of the 8th at Detroit.
Heads up over there, boys. Cardinal radio booth, I think, got that one.
Oh, Mike Shannon has caught a few. There's Mike, and on the right, John Rooney.
Maybe it went into Milo's booth. Maybe Milo caught it.
Fly ball, shallow. Michael Bourne in left center. 1 out. That's 8 straight retired by Wandy Rodriguez. Milo did get it.
Give yourself a blue star, Milo. This Day in Astros history is brought to you by the M.D. Anderson Cancer Center. On this date, 1975, we were just talking about this the other day. Joe Torre set a National League record grounding into 4 double plays. Astros beat the Mets 6-2. Felix Millan had 4 singles, and after each one, Torre promptly hit a ground ball double play.
Couldn't he try to steal?
Don't be afraid to put on a hit and run or something. Who's managing that club?
75 Mets.
Gil Hodges still?
Yogi managed in 73.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know if he was still there in 75 or not.
Come on, Yogi.
We don't think he was there in 75. Joe Frazier. Okay. Jason LaRue's been on twice with a single and was hit by a pitch. Strike there makes it 1-2.
You know, it's Mike Coverage's birthday today as well. Former Astro third base coach.
Happy birthday, Cubby. He was a very good third base coach. Never get anybody thrown out of the play, did he?
Never that it was his fault.
Diving play by Blummer. Ooh, the defensive wizardry on display here in this series.
A little glaring down at third base, and how can you do that to me? I only get to play once in a while. We're having a nice night. Single, reached hit by pitch last time, and this would be double. It's a hang with him. And again, pitching and defense for the Astros on display.
Quick crossover step. That is spectacular stuff.
But now Jason's feeling good, and then no.
Now Wandy throws that next pitch to Walters, the pitcher.
The 1975 Mets were managed by Yogi Berra and Roy McMillan. So Yogi got fired that year, and McMillan took over.
Tejada goes out Walters. 10 straight Cardinals sent down by Wandy Rodriguez. 5-1 Astros. Mark DeRosa's solo homer in the second, his first as a Redbird, made it 1-0 St. Louis. The Astros responded with a 2-run line drive homer by Hunter Pence to make it 2-1 Houston. Miguel Tejada has driven in 2 more with singles, so he's 2 for 3 with 2 runs batted in. Chris Coast had the RBI double in the fourth, scoring Hunter Pence from first. Wandy Rodriguez has really been on his game tonight. 4 hits allowed through 7 innings. P.J. Walters works to Wandy. Delivers ball 1. Wandy's 0 for 2. Made a bid for a hit, but Nick Stavanoa made a good sliding catch on him inside the left field line last time up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Griff Lee and the Indians beat the Blue Jays 2-1 in Toronto. There's Stavanoa shading over toward that line this time.
Blue Jays have said that they will deal Roy Halladay by July 28th, or they will not deal him.
Why July 28th?
I don't know. I think they probably feel like other clubs are just going to wait till the deadline, so they've decided to create their own deadline.
That's innovative. Stavanoa goes for this one. Again near the line. This one's fair. Wandy Rodriguez has extra bases in the corner, and he gets a double. First extra base hit of the year.
Do it all, Wandy. Well, don't steal third. Great night on the mound. A bid for extra bases last time. This time he gets 2 bases.
hit that one deeper than the last one. Lead off double. The Astros get their 8th hit. That's Michael Bourne. 2 hits, 2 runs scored for Michael Bourne. That's a ball 1. 8 hits for the Astros, 4 for the Redbirds now.
If that's somebody other than the pitcher running, who's likely bunting here. I'm not ruling it out completely, but
showed bunt.
Okay. Again, we talked about it back in the 5th that it probably wasn't the stage of the game where you're going to sacrifice, but here, batting in the bottom of the 7th with a 4-run lead, not a bad idea just to play for a run. So get a bunt down, get him over to third base with 1 out. Certainly a good play. Well, he's a pretty good athlete.
Became a pinch run in Los Angeles.
They're always, with most pitchers are just hesitant in putting them in a position where they're going to have to make decisions out there in the base paths because they don't run the bases that often. Certainly don't want to put him into harm's way. An awkward slide or something like that.
Bourne draws a walk. What's on tap with the Astros is brought to you by Bud Light. Chris Carpenter and Roy Oswald, 2 guys who have done a lot of winning in their careers, are matched up tomorrow night. 6:30 for Astros Live, a dandy game. Carpenter 8-3 at 2.26 ERA. Oswald 6-4, 3.65 ERA tomorrow night.
And barring a miraculous comeback here from the Cardinals, and miraculous is too strong of a word, but a big comeback, Astros will be looking for a sweep, and I dare say there will not be a better pitching matchup in all of baseball tomorrow night.
Matsui bunts. LaRue took a look at third, nobody there. He throws to first. And the sacrifice moves up both runners. Rodriguez to third, Bourne to second on Matsui's sacrifice bunt.
Well, they had the wheel play on. It looked like Brendan Ryan got caught a little bit out of position as he starts to slide and then sprint towards third. Wandy had a nice lead. I think if you're going to put the wheel play on, you'd like your shortstop to be a couple of strides ahead of the base runner and be in position to catch a throw. But Ryan got a late break. Wandy got a good jump.
Intentional walk being ordered for Tejada to face Lee with the bases loaded and 1 out.
It makes sense that they'd have the wheel play on there with the pitcher on the bases, down 4 runs, and trying to nail that lead runner. And the wheel play where the corners crash, the shortstop sprints for third, he covers third, and then you're looking for the force at third base.
Bob Johnson is doing some advanced scouting for the New York Mets, and he was remarking about how good Tejada has been looking lately.
This sets up the double play. Tony La Russa trying to get 2 outs with 1 batter here. Otherwise, he has to pitch to Tejada with the infield pulled in, and I think he rarely strikes out. Walters doesn't look like he's a real strikeout guy. Obviously, anytime you face Carlos Lee with the bases loaded, you're in a bit of a predicament. Here's what happened yesterday. Down and in fastball. For a mighty ride on the anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the lunar landing. Carlos hits the moonshot.
Almost took a ride on the B&O Railroad. 13 grand slams. 203 batting average with the bases loaded in his career. This year, 1 for 3 with a grand slam. That is the Astros' only grand slam. They would love to see a 2-run signal right here. Carlos 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a warning track fly ball to right center. Jeff Blum on deck. Ball 1 from P.J. Walters. Walters went to the University of South Alabama. As a high school senior, he was 13-0 with 123 strikeouts and a 0.66 ERA. Foul back. 1-1. Ronnie Rodriguez led off with a double. He's at third. Michael Bourne walked and has been moved to second on the sacrifice bunt by Matsui, and the intentional walk put Miguel Tejada on at first. That was a hanger.
Yeah. A little too quick.
1-2. Walters had one start for the Redbirds, 6 relief appearances before tonight. Line drive, deep shot to left field. A lot of carry to it. And a grand slam for El Caballo. His second slam of the season. Seven runs batted in 2 games for Carlos Lee.
0 for 3 prior to that swing in the bat. But all you need is one good swing. Turn a rough night into a big night, especially with the bases juiced.
14th career grand slam for El Caballo.
And the kid Walters was up against it, had the bases loaded with Carlos up there. Curtain call for the big man.
And it's 9-1. And here's a back-to-back shot as Jeff Blumrich's run to right field. 10-1. Fourth time the Astros have gone back-to-back. And this one on consecutive pitches. As Blum hits number 4, giving him 32 runs batted in. And the place is rocking tonight.
Fans is like when they're in mass. They're up, then they get down, and they have to carry it back up again.
An explosive 7th inning, 5 runs in, and 3 hits. Now Hunter Pence, he's got 2 hits tonight. Brad Thompson warming up for the Redbirds. Blummer heating it up.
Toronto throwing in the Astros pen. Might as well get Wandy out of there. Don't need him anymore.
It's no balls, 2 strikes. 10 runs on 10 hits for the Astros.
Great swing of the bat.
Carlos Lee has 296 career homers now. And a slider gets a strikeout for Walters. 2 down in the inning. The Astros already have gotten home runs number 300 from Pudge Rodriguez and Lance Berkman. Now they would be the first team to have 3 players hit their 300 in the same season when Carlos reaches it. Chris Coast has an RBI double. And we made it 4-1 back in the 4th. Right to Coast. Pence was running on the pitch. This brought him home. No balls, 2 strikes. 3 long balls for the Astros tonight, counting for 7 runs. And the Cardinals had not been having problems giving up home runs before tonight. They were 4th best surrendering homers in the National League for this game. Post is down on strikes. But the Astros in an explosive 7th inning get a grand slam for Carlos Lee, and then 1 pitch later, solo homer Jeff Blum. 10-1 Houston. lot to choose from tonight. Here is El Caballo. He reaches the seats in left field for his second grand slam of the season, and then Jeff Blum follows. One pitch later, he goes deep to right field. A powerful seventh inning for the Astros. They now have 10 runs on 10 hits, and they'll make some changes going to the 8th inning. With the big 9-run lead, it's Chad Paronto, our Verizon wireless call to the bullpen, bringing him in for the first time this season in an Astros uniform.
And Chad having an outstanding year down at AAA. Round Rock, 2-1, 15 saves, ERA of 1.67.
Brendan Ryan with a liner to left. That one's off the advertising sign and past Carlos Lee for a double for Ryan. First pitch by Paronto. Ryan picks up double number 11 of the year.
And Carlos hustled into position to play that carom. Thinking about trying to take a shot at Ryan at second base, but just not able to corral this ball that kicks off the beer bottle out there. Careful now, big man. Chad has been around for a while on the big league scene, up and down the last couple of years. 27 games at AAA. Good numbers, 3 strikeouts for every walk, 204 batting average. Likes to sink the fastball. 6 games with the Astros last year. Been with Atlanta, Cleveland, and first with Baltimore back in 2001.
Schumacher takes, and it's ball 1 to him. Well, Chad, of course, with that experience you talked about, it's easier for him maybe than a rookie to fit into the clubhouse in his situation. He said, hey, I know I'm a long man. I'm fine with that. He said, I think I can help out in the late innings if I get the opportunity, but fine. Whatever. 2 balls, no strikes. Pitched 6 times last year for the Astros. He knows it could be an up and down situation. He's been around the block a few times with that.
Well, I think we all know the answer. If the question is, would you rather be the 12th man on the major league pitching staff or the closer on a minor league pitching staff?
Yes. He was talking about that Round Rock Club tonight for the game. Pretty impressed with several players there. This one gets by, and Q can't find it. So Ryan advances to third. Oh, hit Bob Davidson on the leg. Couldn't tell about that.
Yeah, I believe it did.
Rule a pass ball. Now Dewey Robinson comes out.
It's a little slider. I don't know if Q was anticipating something else.
First
big man put Toronto and Fulcino. Boy, there's you're pulling guards.
Yep.
It used to be, I know when I was a kid, the Expos used to come around. They had an off-season, a traveling basketball team. I don't think anybody does that anymore. It was kind of a public relations thing. And you really wouldn't want to do that now. Pay a guy $40 million and have him blow out his knee playing a bunch of high school teachers in basketball. But yeah, the Astros could put together pretty good, probably a better football team than a good basketball team.
Yeah. They could have Chad Paronto and Jeff Fulcino doing the blocking. Stavanoa batting. He's 0 for 3. They strike 1.
Just have them pull and pitch the ball back to Bourne. It'd be like the Packers sweep.
The Astros bullpen has a 0.71 ERA in the last 12 2/3 innings. Ryder takes off, and a swing and a foul ball makes it 0-2. Schumacher was not being held on by Chris Coast. He set sail for second.
So now Coast will hold him on. Double plays in order. If he's going to run, you don't want to give that up. So keep him honest over there at first base.
Fly ball, Michael Bourne. Ryan to tag at third. And it'll be a sac fly to make it 10-2. Stavanoa gets RBI number 16. Albert Pujols will bat. It was Manny Ramirez against the Astros over the weekend. And now Albert Pujols for the second straight night in this series. In the last 6 games, Ramirez and Pujols have combined against Houston to go 3 for 20, 1 double, no runs batted in. Pujols 0 for 3 tonight. Tony Rodriguez, 7 sparkling innings, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 5 strikeouts, a hit batter.
Well, Lonnie's had success against Pujols throughout his career, and he got him again tonight 3 times. There's the fly ball. High pop up to right, and then that sky infield pop up to Blum put away. All fastballs.
No balls, 2 strikes. Pujols was walked intentionally last night in the 5th inning and went 1 for 3. A single. Hitless tonight. He's walked 74 times this year. So it's fairly unusual that he would get 4 at-bats in a game without walking once. And it could happen if Toronto gets him here. One and 2. Cubs and Phillies are in the 12th. Phillies getting set to bat in the bottom half. Tied 1-1. Detroit beat Seattle 9-7. Rick Porcello going to 9-6, beating Garrett Olson. He's 3-4. Fernando Rodney got his 20th save. It's 2-2. The fans thought maybe it should be over for Albert Pujols. Toronto, drafted by Baltimore, 96, is from Woodsville, New Hampshire. Massachusetts, Amherst. Grounded in the hole and on through into left field. A single for Pujols. 2 men on now for Ryan Ludwig.
Well, as Yogi said, it ain't over till it's over, and we only have to turn the clock back to last night, that Minnesota-Oakland game where the Twins blew a 10-run lead to the A's.
Did you see the final play of that game?
Yes, and I feel bad. I can't remember who the umpire was, but he definitely blew the call.
Yeah, he's a rookie.
Ron Gardenhire now, he wants red flags like they have in the NFL. He wants to be able to replay plays like that.
Don't blame him. Ryan Ludwig has a double in 3 trips.
No, I could buy that to a certain degree. I mean, give the manager 1 or 2 challenges a game. But what I would eliminate then, if we did that, is no running on the field to argue.
Okay.
For me, that would all go away. You can't go out and browbeat an umpire and throw bases and jump up and down and all that goofy stuff. You get your 1 or 2 challenges and that's it.
Okay.
Come on the field, you're gone. You're rejected. See it, pal.
Well, there's some merit.
Because we got timing issues in this game. We don't have time for that folly.
Did you hear what Ron Gardenhire said to the umpire after the game?
I did not.
Well, they were out there, of course, arguing. The game was over, but he was still arguing his point along with the Twins player. I think it was Michael Kadire.
Right.
Who got thrown out for the final out and should have been safe. And apparently, Gardenhire said to him, you know, when you see this play afterwards, you're really going to regret that call you just made. And he's right.
And what did the umpire say?
I don't know. 1 and 2.
A lot of times, you know, and it's such an emotionally charged situation. A lot of times the umpire will no, I got it right. And other times they'll say, well, that's how I saw it.
Right.
There is no turning back. Even at that point, if the umpire goes, uh-oh, I might have blown that one.
One of the television reporters today, who follows baseball very carefully, said all along it's been headed in the direction of reviewing not only home runs but other plays. The feeling is eventually that will happen. Still doesn't mean you're going to have the right camera angle.
Well, and then the question becomes, if you go to it in baseball, like, you know, football, they have that. It has to be, you know, there's a call on the field, and you have to have conclusive evidence to overturn it. Would baseball do that, or would baseball say we're going to take another look at it, and our best guess with the second look is the other way? Because on tag plays, it's, tag plays and bang plays at first base. I mean, we sometimes look at 9 different replays, and you're up here going, I think he got him, and I'm going, no, I think he was in there. I mean, we're keeping.
Exactly. 2-2 to Ludwig. Schumacher, the runner at second base, and it's Pujols on at first with 1 out. 10-2 Astros in the 8th.
All right, Chad, sinker, see if you can get a little ground ball here. Slider.
Yep. No foul ball. Toronto was talking about the ball club at Round Rock, and he likes the shortstop, Tommy Manzella, major league ready defensively right now. And talked about the pitching staff. Bud Norris has done well. Yorman Bizzardo also has good numbers. An excellent changeup from what we're hearing.
And the kid Trinidad that they just called up has pitched very well. He's doing really well at AA, and he's made 3 starts at AAA and has pitched quite well.
Yeah. That's high, and Patty Smith joins us. Patty.
Well, guys, I was in Round Rock this past weekend, and all those guys you mentioned I had a chance to sit down and talk with, and they are just chomping at the bit, waiting for those September call-ups. And, just to know a little bit more about them, we are doing a special Astros Insider, which is going to air on August 6th, and we've got interviews and sit-downs with all those guys, so be sure to tune in for that.
Good. Do you know what time that will run?
August 6th at probably right before the pregame show, so I'm guessing that'll be probably about 6 o'clock.
Okay, and while we have you on, you're putting together a spotlight show on Miguel Tejada. Tell us something about that.
Oh, that I have to say, if I'm going to brag a little bit, probably the best 30-minute show I've ever produced. It is really, it just goes back to him growing up in the Dominican and just absolute poverty that he grew up in, and he was very candid about it. He talked about it. In fact, his father is here right now in the stands watching him, and he talks about it.
Deep drive to left field, and that will reach the Crawford boxes for a towering 3-run homer by Ryan Ludwig, and the Cardinals come back. It's 10-5 as Ludwig takes the tour on his 16th long ball of the year, giving him 61 runs batted in.
So Coop's going to make a move here. Chad just getting the 1 out. Unable to locate that fastball, trying to go down and away. And movement brought it back over the fat part of the plate.
Well, the Redbirds trail by 5 now. They have 7 hits. And it looks like Wesley Wright coming out of the bullpen. 10-5 Houston. Back in a moment.
traveling and can't watch your Astros, you can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.tv, the ultimate baseball experience featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer, and catch those games you missed on demand. For more details, visit Astros.com, where baseball is always on, guys.
Thank you, Patty. Now a 10-5 score with Wesley Wright coming in. After Chad Parado in 1/3 of an inning allowed 3 hits, 4 runs, walking 1 with no strikeouts. Wright is 2-1. His ERA is 5.21.
Proof that baseball players come in all shapes and sizes. Wesley about 100 pounds lighter than Toronto. The big righty yields to the little lefty.
Mark DeRosa drives it to right center field. That one's going to travel a distance, and that is a long ball. Well, both clubs get back-to-back homers in this game. Third time the Cardinals have done it this year. DeRosa's second long ball of the night makes it 10-6.
Now, on a night where you were convinced that you wouldn't have to use your late inning guys, all of a sudden it's starting to look like you're going to have to at least get them a little bit hot and close to ready to go. The Cardinals, this is kind of like one of those College World Series games. Start swinging your way back from a big deficit, it become very difficult to stop.
Colby Rasmus looks at ball 1. Big night for DeRosa. And a 4-run lead. It was a 9-run lead. That one heads for left center field. Carlos Lee waiting. 2 down. 8th Redbird to bat in the inning, Jason LaRue. He's 1 for 2, and he was hit by a pitch. Blum made a terrific diving catch on his line drive in the 7th. Well, these two teams last night played a 3-2 ball game. Tonight, wide open with long balls. 3 for each club. Strike to LaRue.
Well, it's rare that a team has a 5-run inning and they're down 4, but that's the case.
Yeah.
Cardinals on a 5 spot up here in the 8th, but still trailing by 4. So still a comfortable margin for the Astros. It doesn't feel that comfortable the way this inning is played out.
1-1. Back in about 94 or so, Cardinals led the Astros 11-0 at the Astrodome. The Astros came back to win that game. One ball, 2 strikes.
It's hard to do in the Astrodome.
Yeah. Brad Thompson continues to warm up for the Redbirds.
Not like it happens anywhere else easily, but
yeah,
really tough in the dome.
It happened in Oakland last night. 10-run deficit. Braden Looper in Milwaukee blanked Pittsburgh 2-0 on a 4-hitter. Trevor Hoffman got his 22nd save.
And on they go in Philadelphia. They're in the 13th inning now. 1-1 game. Man, that's talk about a ballpark.
Yeah.
That place gives up a ton of runs, but 1-1 in the 13th. Cubs and Phillies.
So with Milwaukee winning, the Brewers hope to gain ground on the Cardinals. Same for the Astros, same for the Cubs at this point.
It's one of those deals where the division is so tightly packed, you don't know who to cheer for, who to cheer against.
No.
Just go out and try to win your ball games. And don't worry too much about everybody else.
And later, Cincinnati plays at Los Angeles. They hope to also pick up some ground. Astros won that game in '94, 15-12 after they trailed 11-0 against St. Louis. 3 balls, 2 strikes for Wesley Wright. Wesley came in last night and got an out on 1 pitch in relief of Brian Moeller. And Jeff Fulcino piecing it together there in the 7th inning. Then LaTroy Hawkins worked the 8th. Jose Valverde got the 9th. Popped up out of play.
We went after ball 4 there. That fastball up out of the zone a little bit. Braves beat the Giants 8-1. Derek Lowe back on track, 9-7 with the win. He beat Sadowski. Brian McCann hit his 10th home run.
Giants have hit a bump in the road now. And the Rockies have moved past them into second place in the NL West and into the wild card lead. This one to right field. Cappinger calls in the 8th inning. Redbirds sent 8 men to the plate, as the Astros did in the 7th, and as the Astros did in the 7th, they scored 5 runs. It's 10-6. Rapid rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. It's 10-6. The Astros and the Cardinals playing in the bottom of the 8th. Humberto Quintero up the middle. Brendan Ryan drops it, and Quintero reaches. So Ryan, who had a couple of throwing problems last night, got in front of that ball, couldn't handle it.
It plays deep and gives him a little extra range. He got there in pretty good shape. Hit the heel of his glove, it looked like. Q going down the line. If he gets it cleanly, he would have been in position to make that little spin around throw.
That's his 5th error. And now the number 9 spot comes up. Jeff Cappinger, 260, 3 homers, 15 runs batted in.
Really?
Wow. Gotta be kidding me. Don't the Cardinals call those from the bench?
Well, I mean, the pitcher can always go over there if he wants to. And maybe they were looking to see if they could get some indication of a bunt from Cappinger.
Okay. Showing bunt, he takes a strike.
Yeah. And normally, if you want a guy to throw to first in a possible sacrifice situation, sometimes you'll do it as a manager. You have your pitcher throw over to see if the hitter will tip his hand as to whether he's thinking about bunting or not. But you want your pitcher to kind of hold the ball a little bit, then make the pickoff throw to kind of buy some time to see if the guy will start to slide his hand up the bat.
1-1. Dave Clark with signs. Mark DeRosa's in on the grass at third, as you see. Dodgers 2, Reds 1. They're in the top of the 2nd in Los Angeles. Homer Bailey pitching for Cincinnati against Randy Wolf. They're going to have to keep the Wolfman away from sharp objects if he doesn't get a win soon, the way he's been pitching. Johnny Gomes hit his 7th home run. There have been, I believe, 7 times this year Randy Wolf has left with a lead and not gotten a win. Bunted foul.
The Wolfman will be howling at the moon. He'll be going to Trader Vic's.
1-2 the count. Cecil Cooper's club got 2 in the second. Single runs in the third, fourth, fifth. 5 in the seventh.
Seeing that shot there, the monitor they have in the dugout where they can see the activity in the pen.
That's a liner to center for a single for Keppinger. 2 on, nobody out. The Rousses.
Well, like I said, you never know the way the Cardinals unloaded there in the 8th. Astros likely will have Michael Bourne bunting here, but it won't be off Walters.
Looks like Dennis Reyes, the lefty, will be headed in this 10-6 game. Back in a moment. Out coming up after the game. It's Astros Live postgame. We'll have postgame analysis, Cecil Cooper's press conference, highlights from the final score, and guess the batting stance. Which Redbird was it? We'll find out afterwards on Astros Live. Kevin Eschenfelder preparing out there with Allison Footer. Getting ready for the show tonight. Kevin's had big moving day. Hasn't he, or is that coming
I
up?
don't know. I'm not familiar with his immediate plan. Good.
Dennis Reyes 0-1 with a 4.03 ERA.
Dennis Reyes, a well-traveled left-hander, prospect for the Dodgers many, many years ago. He's been around the big leagues for quite some time now. Cincinnati, Texas, Colorado, Pittsburgh, San Diego, most recently with Minnesota. Had a nice run there for 2+ seasons and earned a 2-year deal with the Cardinals.
Michael Bourne, Cardinals pinching in at the corners, maybe bunting here. Jason Michaels is on deck. Pitcher spot due up next for Houston. Bourne over his head, and the runners move up on a wild pitch. Over his head from Dennis Reyes. Oh. That's scary.
And didn't get the bunt down, but moved the runners up with the wild pitch. Michael squares around on this ball right over his coconut.
Oh, man. Now the infield comes in after the wild pitch by Reyes.
How good do you feel digging in for this pitch?
Oh, not real good.
I think the guy's got an idea where it's going.
Timeout. Stopped by LaRue, and Reyes so far has no clue. It's 2 balls, no strikes.
Sloppy inning here for the Cardinals. The error by Ryan gets it started. The wild pitch allows Bourne to swing the bat. Doesn't have to bunt. Tony has to pull his infielders in. Base hit, scores 2, most likely.
Bouncer Reyes off his glove. Brendan Ryan barehanding and throws low. He made an ill-advised throw. Albert Pujols able to dig it out. Bases are loaded. Reyes just clanked it. One hopper back to the mound, and he's a mess so far.
Yeah, not sharply hit. Usually they rule those base hits. They don't assume the pitcher's capable of making a play, but that's a pretty easy play. That should be an E1. You want to take a hit away from Michael. Pretty athletic play by Ryan.
Sure was. Albert Pujols saved him a throwing error. Now here's La Russa. He's seen about enough of that act.
Only managing hard here, down 4 runs. He's got 3 outs left. Well, he feels it's worth a shot to try to gain an advantage and see if Cecil Cooper counters the move.
There was ruled an error on Reyes. 10-6, Houston. Back in a moment.
Gets Albert Pujols and the Redbirds taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jason Worth, Shane Victorino, on and on. A lot of firepower in that Philly lineup. War Twins, Angels, Fox Saturday Baseball this week, 3 Central on Fox. Here you'll get the Redbirds and the Phils.
Jason Mock is 3-3. His ERA 4.72. He comes in with the bases loaded, nobody out, facing Jason Michaels, the pinch hitter for Wesley Wright.
He's Jimmy Jack. Nobody out. Bases loaded.
Jason's 5 for 32. Pinch hitting. Infielders in. Pops it up. Way up at the top of the building. DeRosa. 1 out.
Well, Mott's got that power arm. Jason not able to get to that heater. That one up there in the girders.
Miguel Tejada has driven in 2 with a pair of singles. He's walked intentionally. Jason Worth hit a ball halfway to the Jersey Shore. 3-run homer in the 13th inning off Jeff Samardzija. The Phillies beat the Cubs 4-1 in the 13th. Clay Condrey the winner. That was Worth's 21st home run of the year. Lou Piniella was just smiling over Charlie Manuel right before that pitch. The Cubs are now 47 and 45. Out of the way.
And don't you know, Carlos Lee over there salivating, anticipating another AB, perhaps with the bases loaded.
Ooh. They are loaded with Humberto Quintero at third base, Jeff Keppinger at second, Michael Bourne at first. With one out. Line shot right field. Ludwig charges. There's the catch. Here's the tag. Quintero coming home. The throw is wide. He scores. Throw to third. Not in time. It's 11-6. Tejada with his third RBI of the night on a sacrifice fly.
Because the ball was so sharply hit, Q really had to scramble back to third base to tag up in advance. This ball got out to Ludwig in a hurry, and Q barely got back to tag. To throw up the line, if it's on line, probably have. You see Q there just scrambling, hustling back. No time to really set himself.
He was moving pretty quickly. Now intentional walk here. No. That was the first third. Looked like he was putting a hand out. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Carlos hit a grand slam in the seventh inning. There's ball one. So Tejada's driven in 3 tonight. He has 53 runs batted in. Carlos has been quite a grand slammer in his career.
This would be a spot for Denny's.
He really should. 14 career slams. 11-6 ball game. The Astros have failed to score only in the first and sixth innings. 11 runs on 11 hits. Strike, and it's 1-1. Carlos right in the face of Bob Davidson on that one. Mott pitched well in a couple of games in St. Louis against the Astros in April. He was in 12 games last year for the Redbirds. 27 years old from Fort Huron, Michigan, at Iona College. Converted catcher.
We were talking about that the other day. You could put a pretty good pitching staff together, or at least a bullpen core of former position players. Trevor Hoffman, Ricky Patalico. Who's the other one? Somebody we just saw in L.A. Guillermo Mota was a shortstop.
Yeah. Sure. Mott moved to the mound in 2006.
You take a position player. His bat doesn't quite get it done, but you recognize a kid with a big arm and say, hey, try this. Astros did it with Robert Steele, one of the former number ones. They only a catcher that they.
Yes.
I think they signed him. I think with the intention of making him a pitcher or using him as a pitcher. But
that's right.
Had primarily been a catcher.
Yeah, I think he had pitched in relief a little bit, but he had been a catcher most of the time. Yankees beat Baltimore 6-4. Sergio Mitre the winner. Mariano Rivera got his 27th save in Rich Hill.
Throws like a catcher.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Tight short arm delivery, holds the ball close to his head. Not overly focused on placement. See how hard I can throw this thing, and hopefully it ends up in a good place.
Deep drive to center field. Colby Rasmus. In the 8th inning, the Astros had a run on one hit. There was an error and a couple of men left. It is 11-6 Houston. Wesley Wright. Pitcher number 4 will be Alberto Arias for the Astros. They lead it 11-6. Wesley Wright in 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, 1 run. With no walks, no strikeouts, Arias is 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA.
Last time out in Dodger Stadium, let things get away from him a little bit. Lost his scoreless inning streak. He had worked 21 1/3 consecutive scoreless innings before that outing on Sunday in L.A. Allowed an unearned run. Blew the save, but it was one bad one after a string of outstanding pitching.
There were 2 errors, not one, as I mentioned, in the bottom of the inning. And now it's going to be Joe Thurston pinch hitting for the pitcher, Mott, leading off the 9th inning. Thurston came up last night as a pinch hitter. 231, 1 homer, 23 runs batted in. He singled to center field last night. Now a ground ball to second. Keppinger. 1 pitch, 1 out for Arias. And he has been an extreme ground ball pitcher. He gets one right there.
He gets such good movement on his curveball that his curveball doesn't get put in play much, but his fastball does, and it's a sinking fastball that the hitters pound into the ground.
Rick Ankiel now is the pinch hitter for Brendan Ryan. Ankiel at the plate, trying to give the Cardinals a little 9th inning punch. He started last night's game. Looks at that one. Ankiel was 2 for 4 last night. He had been in a long slide. He had been 2 for 32. 218 for the season, 5 homers, 22 driven in for Ankiel. He is 2 for 8 as a pinch hitter. Rips that one on the ground. Coast is there. 2 outs. So on a night when Lance Berkman had to be scratched from the starting lineup with a left calf strain, the Astros have 11 runs on 11 hits.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between baseball and, say, basketball. In basketball, if you have your best offensive player out of the lineup, you wouldn't expect to do much offensively. But baseball is a different animal.
Skip Schumacher's been out twice with a single and a walk. These fans have really been into it tonight. Good crowd. There's ball 1. Many of these same people will not fail to show up tomorrow night for Roy Oswalt and Chris Carpenter. A fly ball to the left field corner. Michaels is over, and that's the ball game. And the Astros are 2 games out of first. They are tied with the Chicago Cubs and Milwaukee Brewers, all 3 of them 2 behind St. Louis. As the Astros have claimed the first 2 games of this series, we have much more coming. Final score 11-6. Back in a moment.